So this is an update on my Ataulfos and Kent seedlings. Okay, the Kents are on the left, the Ataulfos are on the right. I'm in December of 2023 right now. These were all started last summer, and the Ataulfos, these guys right here, we started out, I would say, about a month prior to the Kents. These are the Kents. And they're pretty easy to identify the difference between them. Lots of the Ataulfos, they're more kind of lighter in color in terms of even both mature leaves and new flushes. The new flushes tend to be more like a brownish kind of red. And the leaves tend to be skinnier. And then when it comes to the Kents, they tend to have much more broader leaves, and the new flushes tend to be more like this dark reddish colors. Some of these are beginning to mature, so that's why you kind of see it's not as dark red as in the beginning, but new flushes tend to be a dark red. These are the the trunk size of the Kents. When I started these, so you could see the trunk size. There's a bit more variation in the Kents than I do see in the Ataulfos. For some, the largest Kents is much more drastically different than the smallest Kents. So some of the largest one I have right now, it's larger than a Sharpie for sure. So I started these out in a 15-gallon, and I just kind of plant a seed every time I ate one. Prior to spring of this year, the pot was full of Kent seedlings. Unfortunately, I'll say with this pot, about half of the Kent seedlings did die. You could kind of see some of the old seed kind of embryos here. They did die. I just don't think they tolerate the prolonged wet, cold winters that we have, as well as the Ataulfos. So hopefully these that survived shows a bit more hardiness to that. For whatever reason, I think these Kents show much more variance in like variability and growth. I don't know if that's because it's monoembryonic, and that might be right. But when they do start off, they do grow much more vigorously than the Ataulfo seedlings. The first year the trunk is much more thicker. So the thickest trunk on this is still definitely larger than the thickest trunk on my Ataulfos. But again, I lost about half in this pot for whatever reason. They did die. So in terms of experimentation with Kent seedlings, this will probably be one of my last batches of Kent seedlings. I decided to kind of move on going forward with only Ataulfo seedlings, but I hope that doesn't prevent you guys from trying it out. Even though I still prefer Ataulfo seedlings, it's if Kents are what you guys could get to try experiment with, then that's what I would I would try if you can. But again, lots of variability in the Kent seedlings. Some are much more thicker, slower growing, so not as uniform as the Ataulfo seedlings. And again, these seedlings here, I lost about half during our really wet winter that we had. These are the Ataulfo seedlings, and as you can see, most of the stems are a bit more skinnier. But when you get down to the trunk itself, they're a bit more uniform in variability. Like most of the largest chunks on these are not that much bigger than the smallest. For example, here's a Sharpie comparison, not as big as the cants, but you know, it's the size of a Sharpie, a bit larger. I mean, look at this. This is all pretty uniform in terms of the trunk size. I do have some tiny growth and like some poly seeds right here in the back here. But besides that, you know, this pot is still quite full. I think there was only 1 or 2 plants that died out of here versus like half on the other pot for the cans. So these are Ataulfos. You can see much more uniform in trunk size, and the pot is still quite full. Not a lot of dead seeds I had on the Ataulfos. And like I said, I think maybe 1 or maybe 2 at most have died, but you know, besides that, it's still quite a full size. Didn't lose many, so okay. Both these cant and Ataulfos, they're about 3 to 3.5 feet tall. So 3 to 3.5 feet tall and 1.5 years worth of growth. Okay, so as I mentioned, Ataulfos is all gonna be the rootstock. I'll be probably growing out more of it just because it's quite available at the stores and I do eat them pretty often. Unfortunately, with the cants, I am no longer kind of moving on with any more experimentations on the cants. Okay, so that is my update on my Ataulfos and Kent's seedlings.